Here we are. It's the smoking hour here on Danny McGrath, Coast to Coast. It is 2:20 a.m. and I'm going to have a cigarette. I didn't smoke for a while. Don't want to do the tobacco thing. Of course, mouth cancer, lung cancer, all that shit. So I stopped all tobacco products about 2 years ago, and I started doing this stuff, Zyn. Zyn, it's just pure nicotine. You chew it just like you chew tobacco, And I did that for 2 straight years. But in the last month, I just started smoking cigarettes again. It's terrible. I'm smoking like 10 cigarettes tonight. This is ridiculous. I hadn't smoked 10 cigarettes in 2 years. It was all about the Zyn. But the Zyn, it's pretty strong. Kind of makes you feel pretty overwhelmed by nicotine. And so, against my better judgment, I'm smoking cigarettes again. I can't believe it. I'm ashamed of myself. Sorry. So tonight, we're trying to get a new subject going on right now. I had it all picked out before I turned the recorder on and the microphone on and lit my cigarette, and now I forget what it was. Imagine that. Oh yeah, I got it now. I thought for a second it was rock bands, it's just I've pontificated on that enough. This other thing here, I've always found really fascinating is why are chimpanzees, even though they probably weigh 150 pounds, they could weigh 200 pounds, I don't know. I'm going to guess they weigh 100, 150, 200 pound range. Why are they so much stronger than us, right? And I hear about these people going to visit their ex-chimpanzee pets and stuff, and they tear off their balls and their wieners and their hands, fingers, ears, everything. It's terrible. And I guess that has to do with they have the teeth to do it, which is cheating. I think it's cheating on their part. They shouldn't be able to use their teeth. So I always thought, what human beings would have the best chance in a fight against a chimp? Of course, you'd have to put a muzzle on them so they can't use their teeth. So, of course, and the humans can't use their teeth either, but I don't think they're going to do it. But whatever. So we have to put a mask muzzle type thing on the chimp, weighing 150, 175, 200 pounds, against their human opponent, And it's amazing that they can weigh 150 pounds and they could just destroy us, which just makes me upset. Because we have all these weightlifters, these giant guys. Why wouldn't they be able to hold their own? It upsets me. I don't know why. It's kind of silly. It upsets me. But so I've always wondered who would be the top 10 human beings. Obviously, they'd all be men, because the difference between men and women is probably the difference between chimpanzees and men. I don't know. So who would be the top 10 human beings to hold their own against a chimp in the ring, as long as the chimp can't bite, right? So we put the mask on them, the muscle thing, right? So I'm going number 1, Andre the Giant, right? So we got the 175-pound, 4'6" chimp. Can't use his teeth. He's going against Andre the Giant. Before he got really big, later on he was probably 7 foot. Well, he shrank because he's just the weight of his body just. Let's say at his peak at 22, right? 25. He was probably 7'1", maybe about 350 pounds. Super strength. I mean, one time, some guys in his hometown of France, I think, were making fun of him at a bar. And they all ran out to their Volkswagen to try to get away, and he tilted the whole thing over, right? So he's got some strength. And I know that one time he drank 100 beers in one sitting, which is pretty amazing. I probably had 30 beers in an entire day, right? And I'm an accomplished alcoholic. So this man with fingers the size of bananas going up against a chimp, you would think it'd be a good battle. Of course, he'd have to have a cup on, so that he doesn't grab his balls, because they probably just know what to go after. So number one would be Andre the Giant against the chimp. I'm giving Andre a 20% chance. Number two, Steve Austin. I'm talking the Bionic Man, Lee Majors. Being bionic, having super strength, his little eye thing wouldn't help. And he didn't have the ear thing that Jamie Summers had. So Steve Austin, the Bionic Man, I'm giving him a 50% chance because he's bionic. Number three, best chance against a chimpanzee. Man, these are tough. I would say Mike Tyson. 20-year-old Tyson. He was quick. He probably could have just, right when the chimp was lunging at him, he probably could have gotten that right uppercut and just flattened out the chimp. Iron Mike was fast. He was quick. I guarantee if he, in his heyday at 19, 18, 20, 21, whatever, before he got sidetracked, he would have crushed Muhammad Ali or anyone else, right? Not to mention a chimpanzee. All right, so that's Iron Mike. Number four, who could beat a chimpanzee or have the best chance of beating a chimpanzee in a fight? Wow, I'm going to say Rasputin. Rasputin was a big guy, about 6'9". He had these superpowers, these super sexual powers. And you couldn't kill him, obviously. You'd have to shoot him twice, drown him 3 times. Rasputin versus the chimp, I'll give him a 5% chance. Next, I forget it, number 4 or number 5. I think it's number 4, something like, no, number 5. Who would be the next guy to have a chance? I would say Rocky. From Rocky 1. Sylvester Stallone, Rocky 1. He could break ribs. He could take a punch, obviously. Before he got all thin and, tan and got the whole steroid thing going on, those thin cheeks. When he was in Rhinestone with Dolly Parton, oh my God. Poor Sylvester, what were you doing, man? I would say Rocky 1, Rocky Balboa, from 76, 29-year-old Sylvester Stallone. I'll give him a 15% chance, a puncher's chance. Okay, so after that, we're going, who else? It has to be a really strong person to be able to handle. I'd say that really big sumo wrestler. Remember the guy who was like from Hawaii or something like that? He was about 6'8", about 500 pounds. He'd have some leverage. If he can get him in a hold, maybe put his stomach over the top of him, weigh him down. I forget what his name was, but yeah, that one, he was famous back in, I think, like the late 80s, 90s. Big motherfucker. He probably had to have a good chance. Wow, after that, maybe Wilt Chamberlain. Chamberlain was about 7'2", I think 7'1" and 3/4, something like that. 7'2", let's say 7'2". Very powerful man. He had the reach on the chimp. So if the chimp was coming at him, Chamberlain probably had, 3-4 foot reach on him. If he can keep him from getting to his knees and just got a good right hook, and if he could just pick him up and throw him before he got to him. Of course, he doesn't have teeth, so he'd be okay there. And he's going to be wearing a cup, so his nads are okay. Or he could just knock him out with his dong, about a 12-incher, well, a 20-incher. Let's see. After that, we're going to have to go back in history. Bruce Lee'd have a fighting chance. He's quick, right? So you could give him a nice little karate, whatever they call it, when they kick their foot out there and just crush the guy right when he's coming at him. He'd give that reverse foot thing. The chimp wouldn't see it coming. He'd probably break his heel hitting his face. But I'm giving Bruce Lee a decent chance if he just got the first move. He'd have to get it immediately. Once he gets in the grasp, it's over. Who else is there? Let's see, I'm just trying to think of different athletes that would have a chance. Muhammad Ali, no. Maybe. I mean, in his early days, he was quick. He could have gotten him probably. Gotten him down there quick. Goliath. Goliath, I don't know how big he really was in the old days. They said he was a giant, but he might have been like 5'9", because everyone else is short, right? Let's see. Well, not counting, human beings. I'm sure a gorilla would crush a chimp, right? So that little Kiko, or whatever fuck her name was, the one that's doing the sign languages, she would probably just, as he's running towards her, she'd grab him by the head and just throw him down, and then that would be the end. I think that'd be the end of him, the chimp. Let's see. Tony Fauci, no chance. Trump in his early days. Trump was quick. I think Trump would have a chance. He'd throw him off with the color, the orange color and stuff. He might be thinking he's looking for an orange, trying to pick an orange off the tree. Trump could headbutt him as he's coming in. They'd probably both just pass out at the same time, and then it'd be who gets up off the canvas first. It's like Rocky II. Carl Weathers. Rocky won. He was quick. He had the whole thing going on. Burgess Meredith. That'd be tough. Burgess would have to be probably back in his heyday, back in the mid-20s. He could just scream at him and just split his eardrums. Yeah. Get out of here, you bum! Dustin Hoffman. That'd be a good fight. I think Dustin's going down. McMurphy. You got a good shot there, but I think McMurphy's got the Chief. Now Chief, at 6'9", 270 pounds. He could lift up a 4,000-pound sink and throw it through a window. I think he'd pick up a 150-pound chimp and throw it through the window. So Chief's got a good chance. Nurse Ratched, he'd probably just run. So she's probably going to win. He knows better. Let's see. Other powerful athletes. Buster Douglas. No. He got lucky once. Joe Frazier, he'd hang in there. It'd be a brutal bout. They'd probably both get concussions or concussed. Let's see. Refrigerator Perry, he was big for the time, but 6'2", 296 isn't that big anymore. Remember that fat guy from the old, they had the one fat guy from the Guinness Book of World Records. That guy was like 1,200 pounds. If he could just lean at the right time, he might be able to squash him. And then those two brothers, those two wrestlers that I think they showed them on the Guinness Book of World Records. They were for some reason, they were on dirt bikes. They both weighed about 750 pounds. They could have a chance, once you get that force of the stomach just pounding away at the head. You get a 300-400 pound stomach. That's a deadly weapon. Let's see, who else is in there? Steve Young. Steve Young would have a chance because Steve was a hell of an athlete. He's quick. He could probably maneuver his way around a few times. Just stick and move like he did against the Vikings back in 1988, the great run, Steve Young. Let's see, other wrestlers. I mean, Hulk Hogan, he's probably not big enough. He could probably withstand a few blows. He'd have to have a good crushing move and better hair. God, it sucks. There aren't that many men that could beat a chimpanzee. I don't think there's any men that could beat a chimpanzee. There should be. Me against a chimpanzee? No. I just lay down on the ground and just hope that he doesn't take away my testicles or my toes and stuff, But he would have the mask on and all that, so he wouldn't be able to do that. But his fingers probably could still just pull your junk off. It sucks. Let's see. Damone from Fast Times. He might be able to talk his way out of it. Jefferson from Fast Times. I think he could do it if he had his pads on and his helmet and everything, and he crashed his Trans Am or whatever it was. Jefferson, that's a good. So that's Forrest Whitaker. So we're getting Forrest Whitaker the 50-50 chance. Let's see. Of course, Mr. T. Mr. T has a good chance. Mr. T. Barry Bonds at his peak. He's got a lot of torque going on there. He could just swing and hit him with his back of his left hand, or I guess it was his right hand. He's a lefty. Let's see. God, who else is there? That big guy from Night Court. He'd probably have a chance. Lurch, I think that was Addams Family. Have a shot. Fred Munster from you could use that circular head to maybe get in there first. Woody Allen, he's quick, he's fast. You could outmaneuver him. Kind of like Fauci. He's faster than Fauci, though. He's older than Fauci. Fauci's 81. I think Woody's about 86. So maybe he's not as quick as he used to be. But maybe back in the early 70s, the Bananas days, he'd probably have a shot. De Niro, Pesci definitely would have a shot. Pesci, for sure, if he had a pen in his hand, a paper mate. Let's see, what else is there? My dad would have had a chance. He had really big arms, good imagination. He probably could have just thought him away, he's not there anymore. Let's see, and then lose to me at basketball later on. My brother Tom is a good, extremely elusive person. I mean, he has a pretty good left hand, not overly powerful. He's about 5'9", about 170, 175 in his fighting weight. But he could maneuver, I remember when we were kids, we couldn't even catch him playing football. He was like Walter. We used to call him Walter, like Walter Payton, because you couldn't even touch him. You know, in football, you're supposed to two-hand touch or tackle. Well, we played tackle football, and we couldn't even touch him. OJ. OJ would have a chance. Put a knife in his hand, I'd say OJ wins. Charles Manson, no. Manson's done. Let's see. Who else is there? Oh, Abraham Lincoln, no. Anyone else in there? We get anyone else? Somebody give me a potential fighter for a chimpanzee. Let's see. Fred Dean, he'd have a good chance. Smoking a cigarette at the same time as he's fighting him, just like me. Fred Dean. He never, you know what's funny? He never lifted a weight in his life. He was just naturally powerful. You know, the defensive ends now are about 6, you know, they're always about 6'4", maybe 300, something like that. He was 6'4", about 235, something like that. And they do this lifting weights thing where they give you 200 pounds to lift how many times you can. At my peak, I think I did it once. And that took like 10 years of training. This guy never lifted a weight, smoking a cigarette, put him on the bench press, natural power. He did it like 30 times, 200 pounds. So he's got a good chance against Bonzo. Bedtime for Bonzo. Ronald Reagan, again. Good chance before he was shot, I would say. Who else we got there? I think we're running out of people. I mean, Bigfoot against the chimp would be a good fight, because the chimp's only, 5? And here we got the chimp in the right corner, standing 4'7", weighing 173 pounds, and we got Bigfoot, standing 8'2", weighing 695 pounds. But he doesn't exist, so that wouldn't happen. And he's not a human being either, so that doesn't count. So it's human beings against Ronda Rousey, was her name? No, probably not. Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. I'd take her and then just run away from the ring and just leave. Don't even have a fight. What was the other one? The other great... what was the other Wonder Woman from the 70s that was so beautiful? Linda Carter, yeah, Linda Carter, okay. She'd probably have a chance. She could probably knock him out with one of her boobs as he's trying to make a move. And then, let's see. Roger Goodell, he could probably hug him to death. He'd just give him the hug. Jimmy Garoppolo would just kill him with his looks, right? He'd just look at him and just drop down dead. Yeah, they call me Jimmy G. Ain't nobody look like me. I'm as pretty as a tree, that's why they call me. Yeah, they call me Jimmy G. Hey, why don't you cut me some slack? You know I'm your quarterback. All right. Bill Walsh, have a good chance, I think. Bill Walsh. John Madden. No, John Madden. Madden probably, that's our best chance. Madden. Get your fat butt off of it. No, Bill King. Bill King, the old announcer for the Raiders, he would just fart and the chimp would die from exposure. It's really a sick story. He used to eat all kinds of food. Bill King, the announcer for the Raiders, A's, Warriors. And then he would just let loose and fart in the studio when he knew the the play-by-play, he's the play-by-play guy, the color commentator couldn't get out of the booth, and they'd have to sit there and still call the game while they're breathing through that shit, right? I'd rather fight a chimp than breathe in his farts, okay? Wolf Blitzer, give him a fighting chance. Jake Tapper, no. Don Lemon, hello. Chris Cuomo, hello. Anderson Cooper, wow. I think the guys at Fox probably have a better chance. Greg Gutfeld, Jesse Waters, Dana Perino, maybe a good chance. Geraldo, of course, in his older days, back around 71, 72, Geraldo Rivera. Well, I guess probably our best chance would be this Tyson Fury. Fury at 6'9". They say he weighs 280. I say he weighs 325. It's amazing that guy could kick the shit out of this other totally toned athlete when he just looks like he has no tone or whatever. Just shows weightlifting doesn't help a boxer. That's why I probably shouldn't be looking at big buff guys to beat up the chimp, because the chimps don't lift weights. They're just really strong naturally. So you probably look, maybe Jaws from the James Bond movies, but he wouldn't be able to bite. You'd have to put. Wouldn't be fair if he could bite and the chimp can't bite. So you just put the muzzle on him too. He could still have the silver teeth and stuff. They just can't. You can't use them. Manute Bol. I don't know. That'd be one-shot deal right there. Shaq, come on. 7'2", 360 pounds. Shaquille O'Neal. He might have a chance. And then that's it. That's all I got. I'd like to know how other animals would do against other animals. I've always been fascinated, like a lion versus a grizzly bear, which always fascinated me. I'm guessing the lion would win, but if you got one of because lions weigh like 600 pounds, but if you got one of those big Kodiak bears, you know, those 1,500, 2,000 pounders, I think they'd probably win, because with one right paw, they could take down a moose. So I'm thinking they could take down another the Bengal tiger versus a lion. I think the tiger would win. I'm going tiger. Tigers are probably the most powerful. If I was going to take any mammal versus any other mammal on land, I'd probably take an elephant. I think elephant probably beat grizzly bear, tiger, lion, rhino would be good. Could fight Tyrannosaurus Rex, but that's a reptile. And then in the water, or polar bears. Polar bears be tough to beat, but not against an elephant. I think in the water, I'd probably I'm going killer whales. I think killer whales are probably our number apex predator there is. I'd like to see just a killer whale versus a sperm whale that didn't have a little one to look after. So a male sperm whale versus a killer whale, I think would be a good battle. I think the killer whale has the maneuverability, but the sperm whale has a puncher's chance. And he could probably just grab onto his fins, and just bring him down to about 20,000 feet deep and just burst his lungs. But so I'm going Orca, number one. Terrible movie. Bo Derek, Richard Harris. And sperm whale, number two. Let's see, in the sea. I mean, the blue whale would be tough to beat just because it's so big. What are you going to do to it? It's kind of like... I mean, the toughest ones to beat are probably the smallest things, you know? Like, how are you going to beat a swarm of bees? They'd probably kill everybody. Or mosquitoes. Mosquitoes have killed more people in the history of mankind than anything else. Roberto Duran, he'd have a good chance. Marvin Hagler. Ernie Shavers. Ken Norton, he broke Muhammad Ali's jaw. George Foreman, come on. George Foreman. Whew. And I think that's it. Thank you.